Hello Battlecats players, my name is Chance and welcome to my guide. Today we have a very special cat in store for all of you. That being of course Cat Machine. This uber rare cat is made available by playing the rare cat capsules during the Dynamites event. Now Cat Machine, if you don't know already, is a unbelievably great unit to have. This unit alone basically single-handedly can nullify the threat of some of the most difficult enemies in the game. And because of that, I know quite a few people who consider this to be like a must-have or a must-take. Naturally, if you don't have him, there are other ways to beat those stages that he is recommended for, but if you do have him, those stages become almost trivial. In any case, it is my hope that throughout this video, exploring really all there is to know about Cat Machine, you can make a more informed decision on how to best use this unit, as well as how far to invest into them, if at all. Now let's get started by taking a look at Cat Machine's evolutionary line. Starting with Cat Machine itself, whose description reads, Series 1 Weaponized Machine System, or MS, developed by the government, area attack, resistant to red and alien attacks. Then at level 10, it evolves into Cat Machine MK2 or Mark II, a battle-tested revision of MS that managed to escape from the research facility, area attack, resistant to red and alien attacks. And then at level 30, as well as introducing some Catfruit and XP, it becomes Cat Machine Mark III. The next generation of Battletech, MS RX Omega, has slipped into the hands of the Cat Army, resistant to red and alien attacks and immune to waves. A little bit of lore there, which is always quite nice. However, if it only falls into the Cat Army's hands in the third form, how are you using it for the first two? That's like my question, but I don't know. This also isn't part of the Cat Army combo, which is like kind of, I don't know. I know why it's not, obviously, but like, well, it's just like a weird reference, I guess. I don't know. Now let's talk about its overall performance. First and foremost, this unit is considered to be a tanker class unit, which really just means its primary job is to just take hits. Namely, in the case of Cat Machine, red and alien enemies. However, its health pool is just absolutely massive. Under pros, you have huge damage and health, only one knockback, cheap to produce, and short recharge time. Under cons, you have slow movement speed for normal and evolved, very long attack foreswing and backswing, and extremely low range. Under additional traits or other traits, you have quite a bit. First and foremost, you have resistant to red and alien enemies, which means it only takes a quarter of the damage from those traits, or 1/5 if you have the relevant fruit treasure. You also have immunity to waves in its evolved form, which just means waves don't really affect this unit. However, the most important thing it has is Wave Shield. This not only makes the unit immune to waves, which this one already was in its evolved form, but it also prevents the waves from going through the unit, essentially making everything behind it immune as well. And this is really the primary trait that makes Cat Machine kind of a must-take in some people's mind. Once again, you can beat heavy wave stages without this unit. I would make an argument that if you just like span enough like octopus cats, for example, you could probably get pretty close. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like, it just makes a lot of those stages so much easier. Now let's move on, watch some gameplay, and discuss some strategy. To touch on cost, however, Chapter 1, 2400 cents, Chapter 2, 3600, Chapter 3, 4800, which is actually incredibly cost effective for an Uber, but, you know, it's something that could need to be budgeted for. So this cat is, in theory, absolutely amazing, right? Its base stats are basically off the charts, and its wave shield is pretty fantastic. Really a blessing to the team in general. So the obvious answer is to just spam out these guys endlessly, right? And I mean, maybe on some stages you could do that. Actually, on some stages you could definitely do that. But usually how this is used is like the spearhead, right? There are however, some notable downsides and some things to consider with Machine Cat. Firstly, this cat misses so damn much. So if you have like anything with the ability to knock back a unit, odds are Machine Cat's gonna miss like over half of his hits for sure. His attack animation is so damn long, and in his normal and evolved form, he's so unbelievably slow. So really, the best way to use this cat is kind of to establish your wall, I guess, or your line for lack of a better term, and then just keep moderate meat shield spam just in case like anything really hits the fan, and then just spam out basically glass cannon units behind him, things with decent range, and ideally slower the better. My reasoning for this is that the first two forms of Machine Cat are so slow that the way movement animation works in Battle Cats is you will often have your DPS units in the same hitbox or even a little bit further ahead of Machine Cat. So by picking slower units or units with slower movement animation, they're more likely to be behind him, which is really where they need to be to reaping any benefits from him being on the field. There's also maybe an argument to be made that by picking cats that freeze or are slow, you could prolong the duration of time they spend in a particular spot, and because of that, maybe Cat Machine could get an additional hit off here or there. But for the most part, I don't personally ever really use him as an offensive unit, simply because the way his attack animations work is they just take so damn long and they are so unreliable when it comes to hitting. And he serves such a good job of tanking that it's almost a waste to protect him more than needed, if that makes sense. A real good pairing for Machine Cat would probably be Salon Cat, as that unit has decent range. It has a pretty good movement speed, however its movement animation is fairly short, so that'd be like a good example. And then you'll just abuse chip damage until you get to the enemy base, and once that gets within Machine Cat's range, it's just going to obliterate it. That's kind of the way you want to use this cat, or at least the way I do. If you have any other suggestions, of course, put them down beneath in the comment section. Now, it is worth noting that this cat unfortunately does not have Warp Blocker, which really hampers its ability to be used on any stage with starred aliens, as they'll just teleport him back and make him essentially useless, so just do bear that in mind. However, I guess there's an argument to be made that if you have enough of them, then it wouldn't really matter that much, especially in the true form. The true form, by the way, really goes a long way towards addressing a few of the issues I have with Machine Cat. The most important is that it goes out of its way to really improve the movement speed of this cat. And that is something that really holds the other forms back, so yeah, it's kind of good. Now let's talk about its available cat combo. That being Steel Saviors. This is a resistant effect up of the small variety, involves Catotron and Cat Machine, and improves the resistant ability by 10%. I actually think this is very, very useful, especially with Cat Machine, so pretty dang good overall. Now moving on to the Catfruits you're going to need to true form this unit. 7 red fruits, which can be obtained every Wednesday, 7 blue fruits, which can be obtained every Thursday, 3 yellow fruits, which can be obtained every Friday, and 4 epic fruits, which can kind of be obtained on all of the growing stages, with the exception of Growing Strange and Growing Evil. In addition to that, the dual Cyclone fights also provide epic cat fruit, and once you complete an Ancient Curse, you'll gain access to the Growing Epic stages, where you can get them there as well, for a few hours every weekend. You'll also need the standard Uber amount of 1 million XP, which may or may not be a lot depending on which part of the game you're at. Now I'm just going to flash you some graphs pertaining to Machine Cat's stats, as well as just read out some trivia. The code names MSRX13 in Cat Machine 2's Japanese description and MSRX Omega in Cat Machine 3's description reference the Gundam code names from the mecha anime series Mobile Suit Gundam, which is such a good anime, man. So many damn spin-offs off of it too, just great. Giant mechs in space, so good. Literally every anime I can think of with giant mechs is an absolute banger. In the Japanese event poster for the Dynamites, Cat Machine is accompanied by the text Kotatsu Ungo Nya, which is a reference to the famous line from the first episode of Mobile Suit Gundam, Kotatsu Ugo Zo, which means this guy moves. The line is used as one of the reactions when something they weren't expected to move starts moving. Which, I mean, I guess kind of makes sense. Although in Cat Machines, it doesn't really make sense until its true form. The way Cat Machine Mark III floats using thrusters that replace its legs is similar to the Gundam MSN02 Zeong. Cat Machine 3's Japanese description says that it's going to be used against the government that created it in order to stop them from producing an army of Cat Machines, which very much sounds like the overall plot of the Getting Robo OVA, Getting Robo Armageddon. In the story, the original team of Getter Robo pilots turns against the mecha's creator, Dr. Satome, using one of his most powerful mechas, Shin Getter Robo. Also, its previous form's description mentions a research institute, which could be referring to the Satome Institute. The event poster for the Dynamites refers to it as Machine Cat. Prior to version 9.7, Cat Machine Mark II was not immune to waves. Cat Machine Mark III was the first unit to have the Wave Shield ability. Cat Machine has a Gudetama themed variant called the Good Cat Machine during the Gudetama collaboration event, as well as an enemy counterpart unofficially dubbed the Good Doge Machine. These are only in the Japanese, Korean, and Taiwanese versions of Battle Cats, however. Now then, after that absolutely absurd amount of trivia, let's talk about the available talents for Cat Machine. As far as available talents go, we have Freeze, which adds a 50% chance to freeze for 1.3 seconds and improves by 0.3 seconds per level up to 4 seconds total for a total MP cost of 235. Immune to knockback for an MP cost of 100, movement speed up, which upgrades movement speed by 1 per level up to 10 for a total MP cost of 175. Defense buff, which increases its health by 2% per level up to 20% for a total MP cost of 175, and attack buff, which basically does the same for attack power for 175 as well. Now, as far as these talents are concerned, unfortunately, a couple of them are kind of useless. Two in particular are freeze and attack buff. Now, I hear a couple of you questioning that because his attack stats are so good, boosting them by 20% means a huge increase. And while that is technically true, unfortunately this cat misses a lot. And it's not a cheap thing to invest heavily into, so I don't personally believe it's worth it. Like, don't get me wrong, if y'all have NP to burn and you want to see numbers go up, sure, go for it. Why not? But just bear in mind that there are so many better units to invest NP into, at least for those traits in particular. However, movement speed up is probably the most important talent for this cat, as the quicker he can get where he's going, the better tanker he can be, obviously. From there, defense buff is probably the next most important thing to invest into. And I am aware that in theory, if you upgrade him enough, his base stats should actually be enough to get him through most stages. But if you want to go the extra mile and just get a little bit more cushion, for lack of a better term, then investing into this isn't bad either. Now that you know what I think about Machine Cat, let's hear what all of you have to say about him. First up, we have Lil Gao 8618, who says, I imagine he traveled to Japan to eat as many octopuses as he could for his revenge. I mean, maybe, I don't know, I guess, because the wave thing, but I don't know. Next, we have Haz1897, who says, thick boy who miss his attack most of the time. Good for tanking, but just use Octo for general wave blocking. Yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know, it depends how much waves you have on that stage and what's causing them exactly. A good chunk of the wave enemies are kind of red and alien, but you know, it's one of those things where in theory he's not wrong in terms of spammability. I do agree, but I don't know, Cat Machine's just fun to use. Monkey0H1HS says, I have no opinion on this cat since I don't have it. That's fair. Kabaya Ann Nurse 6789 says a giant robot, and well, I can see why you'd think that. There are some pretty big boys in this game. Courier Cat says, fat machine. So true. And B-Eater says the OG wave blocker. Technically true. And if any of you would like to be featured in this part of the channel, check out the communities tabs and comment on the relevant posts there. And that really about sums up all there is to know about Cat Machine. If there's any questions, comments, or concerns you have, feel free to list them down beneath in the comments section, as well as let me know where you find Cat Machine to be most useful and what stages he helped you on or what stages you'd like to use him on. Thank you so much for everyone listening until this point. I certainly do appreciate it, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe because Cat God demands it, and I'll be talking to y'all soon.